the chicken. If it was a pork chop, it'd be the pork chop. If it was ratatouille, it'd be the eggplant and zucchini. All right? So you sear it. What I mean by sear is get the ideal color you're looking for the production you are doing. In this case, brown. The way Dave's working is burnt. Once that's done, you move into the second step, which we're really almost ready to do here. So Dave, you can stop. I'm going to step in. So look inside here, guys. Depending on your cooking production, you may actually take this protein out of the pan and just start the process like doing making a saute or aromatic stage. So what I mean by that is like with the chicken, the seasoning searing process takes in the oven down here 45 minutes to an hour. So the first step, you take 45 minutes to an hour to get to the point where we're ready to work with it. When that time comes up, that's when we take our protein out of the pan and we start to do the process of making our pan sauce. Sometimes we leave it in the pan, the protein. Sometimes it takes a matter of like 3 minutes to get to the point where we can add our aromatics. So it's just a lot of variances there, is there not?
Yes, Chef.
So aromatics can be whatever you want them to be. In my case, I'm doing mirepoix. So onions, carrots, and celery. I have a loose bouquet garni and a couple of heads of garlic that I just cut the tops off of and left the paper on so they stay bundled. And then my loose bouquet garni, which I'll drop in there now. Thank you so much. Note that I didn't have a lot of fat in the pan. Did you guys see that?
Yes, Chef.
The reason is I don't want fat in my sauce. Or I want to add the fat. Okay? So now it's just a matter of sauteing these. Because I'm using water as my base liquid for this dish, I want to try and get as much color on my vegetables as I possibly can. Because I'm going to rely on them to give me the color I'm looking for. I also wanted to saute my protein long enough so that it could get dark as well. Okay, you guys saw that with the chicken bones and everything that's in there. I wanted to get color on them, so I let them do their thing. And if you look on the bottom of the pan, that's what I have, is that sook. That's the protein coagulating to the bottom of the pan. Don't be timid about that stuff because it will get black, but just keep it moving, you'll be all right.
It gives it good flavor, doesn't it?
It does. It's what you guys rely on in Thanksgiving dinner is to take that water and splash off the brown bits at the bottom of the pan that you make your turkey in. To
make gravy.
For us, it's the same thing, but we're not going to use stock. We're going to use water as well. So, and I want you to notice that when we do add the water and deglaze, or rather deglaze with white wine and add the water, it'll be a stock. It'll be a brown stock is what it really is. And the reason that is because I have everything that a stock would have, don't I?
Yeah.
I have bones. I have protein. I have mirepoix. I have aromatics. I'm adding in some acid. The acid's going to be there to kind of pull off some of this stuff on the bottom of the pan. I'm adding in tomato paste to brown off, and that's what we call pincé, which is part of step 3. And by the time I add my liquids, it will be brown in there, which is what we want. Yeah, so right now I'm on step 2. You'll see a star that says pincé. Pincé is giving you the idea of whether or not you want to do a brown sauce or a white sauce. If we're doing a brown sauce like we're doing today, we're going to add in, pincé means adding tomato paste and browning it. That's what it's all about. So I can see my veggies are turning really nice and colorful.
If we didn't add the tomato sauce, wouldn't it still turn brown from the...
Sort of, just not as deep. So I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato paste, and I got a lot because I want to try and get as much color on this as possible. This is where you have to be really careful because the tomato paste has a real good tendency of burning instead of turning brown on you, because tomato paste is high sugar content.
Turn the temperature down a little bit once you add
it. Don't need to really, it's just that my sook is getting really thick because I'm talking more than I normally do.
How much tomato paste did you put in there?
About 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons, right?
Yeah.
4,
So
thank
almost
you.
like one of those little mini
Almost a quarter cup. All right.
Oh, it smells so good.
So I'm going to add in a little bit of white wine right now. And the reason is I want to kind of get some of the sook off the bottom because it's starting to get a little thick. But I need to let my tomato paste cook just a little bit longer. And the reason is because my tomato paste is still red and I can tell when I add the liquid it turns liquid red, and I want this to be brown. Don't answer mine with this. I know you don't have dandruff, but then you have dandruff. All right. So see that? We got some good color. So now, deglaze. We're on step 3. So we're deglazing with white wine today. You can deglaze with simple things like water. You could use vinegars. I've used pickle juice. In fact, you'll do a pork charcuterie, which is a sautéed pork chop with a charcuterie sauce, which is a sauce based with pickle juice in it. It's really, really, really good with pork because we brine it the same way as well. So we kind of pickle the pork before we get it in the oven. That's a fun day. So you can do that. You can do higher alcohols. You can do lower alcohols. Whenever you deglaze with an alcohol, you always go with the highest alcohol content first and work your way down. Whenever you work with, excuse me, acidity. I just got a whiff. No, I'm good. The acidity is highest acidity first, and then work your way down from there.
So highest alcohol or highest acidity?
Yeah, but it's always alcohol first, then the acidity later. But you can see what happened with the addition of that white wine. What happened to the bottom of my pan?
It's cool.
Isn't that crazy?
I want to eat that.
I know, me too. So while that's going, I'm glad I stole this now. I got it. They're fine. This oven's active. Kick it. I've been thinking about it.
That or kick David, either way, everybody's happy.
All's right in the world when somebody gets kicked.
What's up right now against me?
It's Lumpy's day off.
Wait, he had a day off yesterday. Yesterday was
I got your
Fifth
back.
Day.
Today.
Yesterday was Fifth Day, so now it's Lumpy's Day again.
No.
It's never David.
Okay, so we're reducing down this to another term that we call a-sec. A-sec means almost dry, so we're getting rid of as much moisture content as we possibly can get out of here. So a-sec, okay? Once we hit that a-sec coloration or texture, then we can add in our water, and we can let this just simmer away and get beautiful. And the kicker is I'm not going to use a single thickening agent in this dish. Okay, I'm going to let the water and the vegetables cook down together. And I'm going to let it reduce down quite a bit and kind of pull away. And then we're going to
paste as a thickening agent.
a little bit, but not as much. It doesn't really, it does, but it doesn't. I'm going to rely mostly on the vegetables falling apart. And some of the bones kind of working their magic too with the collagen that's in there.
That looks rough.
And that smell good too. So I'm going to do about a half a gallon of water. How good does that look? Doesn't it look like stock already?
Yeah.
It looks like a brown stock, doesn't it?
Yes.
And yet there's no stock in there, is there?
What did I miss? What's that?
Clove
of garlic.
Head of garlic.
Head of garlic.
You got some sort of weird flower going on in there.
So we're going to let that sit in the pot and simmer for a good amount of time. Probably the rest of while we're lecturing, we're going to let that simmer down. We're going to let everything kind of meld and flavors kind of mix. The chicken we're going to check in a few minutes. We're going to probably baste it with a little bit of fat. So I'm going to take some of that butter that's over there, put it on the pan, let it kind of melt. And I'm going to take a spoon and baste over the top of it. One trick that I always tell people that when they're just starting out or trying to figure out how to baste properly, because we all do it with our chickens at home, or like turkeys on Thanksgiving, you get that turkey baster out, you suck up all the moisture in the bottom of the pan, you see those two layers, you got like a liquid layer and an oil layer, and yet you still dump a liquid layer on top of the turkey. Do you guys do that? You shouldn't. Because what happens is the heat, the moisture actually pulls out the moisture from the turkey.
Yeah, it dries it out.
It dries it out even more. So all you want to use on the top is butter or just fat. So that's how you want to do it. Okay? So this will come to a simmer. That's going to start to brown.
Should turn it
We're going to talk more about how it works out, but let's talk about the 6-step process a little bit more. So we did step 4, first part was to season and sear. It's you know, to me, we could call that season and searing. We could also call what I did in the oven a season and sear, because we could always take that pan out, deglaze it, and pour it into the pan that we have over there, and add some flavor to it, right? We did the sauteed aromatics, mirepoix, bouquet garni that's taken apart, garlic, saute it down, get some nice color on all of it. Pinces, we added the tomato paste, we browned it, got it nice and rich. We deglazed it with white wine. right? It's the white wine window.